will be obedient. The minister or the ruler should be benevolent, so the minister can be supported. Husband and wife are defined in terms of division of labor. We now don't like that kind of division of labor, but you can change the division of labor. The division of labor itself is absolutely necessary. There's a difference between the role of the father and the role of the mother. You can exchange it, but both of them will have to perform duties and ideas differently. The older brother or the older sibling is friendly, then the younger sibling could be respectful. And the value that governs friendship will be trust. So these are the basic values. The values of loving, caring, the value of trust, the value of respect, the value of not just compliance, the value of even dependence. Now, not only human beings are emotional beings with tremendous emphasis on sympathy and empathy. Human beings are social beings understood in terms of family relationships. But later, if we read the Great Learning, we realize family relationship is only a part of the Confucian conception of a human being is essentially relationships, because we have to extend to the community, to the nation, and beyond. And I would even argue it is not good enough you have a sense of not only a responsible member in the family, or responsible member in the community, responsible member in the nation, or a responsible member of the global community. You have to go beyond. That is, you have to understand the community of the living. So, I think you're familiar with the term anthropocentrism. Anthropo, of course, refers to human. Centrism meaning all your energy, all your idea, all your wisdom is focused on the human condition, on the human world. So human beings are anthropological. But from the Confucian point of view, it's not good enough. You have to go beyond a number of constraints if you want to recognize the importance of your relationships. If you want to learn for yourself, you need to go beyond your egoism or self-centeredness. So don't confuse your egoism with your self-centeredness. Now, self-centeredness may also turn out to be very negative. So the true self, the cultivation, Confucianism can also be considered as a self-cultivation philosophy, is to cultivate the true self that is open to the outside world, because relationships, or the self that is totally immersed in one's own interest, emotion, and so forth. So the self, to be truly human, will have to go beyond egocentrism. The family is very, very nourishing and important. You take the family absolutely seriously as a value. But you have to go beyond nepotism. If you don't go beyond nepotism, what you have is you confuse Confucian ethics with mafia ethics. You've seen the mafia situation, loving, caring within the family, but extremely aggressive towards anyone who's not part of the family. That's not Confucian. The Confucian idea is to extend to your feeling internally to the outside world, to your family, and beyond. But you have to overcome parochialism. You're very much immersed in your own community, but you're not interested in other communities. Not to mention aggressive nationalism. It's very interesting. This is not necessarily a critique. This is an observation. The United States, as a great nation, has tremendous difficulty. I'm talking about some of the most brilliant politicians. Has tremendous difference of going beyond national interest. Mandel, he was a presidential candidate, the vice president, presidential candidate, and extremely sophisticated statesman. We were in a meeting together. I asked him the question, because it was in the period of American unilateralism. I said, in what sense the United States, or how can the United States move beyond self-interest? He's being honest and being extremely sophisticated mind, he couldn't answer the question, wait for quite a few seconds, in an audience. And he said, self-interest, national interest is good for me. All politics in the States is local politics. Tip O'Neill talked about, because you have to be responsible and receptive to your constituencies. So you really have to be part of national interest. That's the reason we send sometimes a second-rate politician to be the American representative in the United Nations. We don't take United Nations or any other international organizations that serious. And we think our self-interest overrides, anyone, even Obama, says from now on, international interest will be taken so seriously that we would be willing to sacrifice our self-interest, our national self-interest. He would be, his career would be gone. So this notion of going beyond nation is difficult, but going beyond the human community, going beyond the anthropocentric is even more difficult. Later we have a chance, you can say, well, this is extremely romantic, but my argument is not romantic, it's realistic. It's realistic about this conception of being human. Of course, I agree with the Greeks that human beings are also political beings. The reason that human beings are political beings is because they form social unit that is able to rule not only by law, which is a minimum condition for orderliness, but also by civility, by virtue. And the best kind of politics is the politics run by virtuous people, but the importance of the legal constraint can never be totally relegated to the background. So politics is a moral concept. Politics is not simply what we consider to be a secular humanistic idea. Well, I have to move very quickly to other dimensions. Human beings are also historical beings. Our memory, in fact, frees ourselves from our constraint. If we don't have memory, we are slaves. We're not free. Memory is a way of liberating ourselves and to develop a much wider horizon. And the most difficult, but one of the most important features that human beings are metaphysical beings, which means human beings are motivated to search for meaning in life and to have ultimate concern. And I want to simply suggest one thing. If the meaning of life, the search for the meaning of life is totally irrelevant to your pursuit of your career, you'd be very cautious about that kind of situation. Because normally we consider success as what we strive for. Success in our career. If we're successful in our career, we're able to expand our career, our influence, our power will be greatly enhanced. Success itself is never going to give you the real satisfaction of learning to be fully human. If you quest for meaning very young, you may not be successful, but the possibility of some kind of meaningful life is there. If you are very successful and you consider meaning of life important, that's great. From the Confucian point of view, you'll be able to spread your success very widely, not only to your family and beyond. This is the greatest achievement. But if you focus on success at exclusion of meaning, even you become successful, you still suffer. Many successful people are the most miserable people. And only those people with this kind of sense of meaning will be able to develop into a fully accomplished human being. So, a human being is not simply a rational being or a political being or the being of tool users or the being of linguistic proficiency. A human being is emotional, with feeling, especially sympathy, social, political, historical, and metaphysical. And this broad vision of the human is not at all in